So before we start the show, Michael, and before we get into this intro, I got something that I need to get off my chest here. All right, bro. Okay, bro, we got to get this off my chest because it's been bugging me for this week. One thing I just want to say that me, Michael, on this show, in no way, shape, or form ever say that NXT is perfect. There's not one week where we go by and say that NXT is perfect, they do nothing wrong. It's not a perfect show. And if people actually listened to the show, they would actually know that we actually don't proverbially suck the NXT dick and actually criticize NXT for stuff that they do wrong on a weekly basis. But then we have people out there that criticize us when they don't even listen to the show and know what we're actually saying. So I gotta get this on my chest that maybe next time you want to go out and say that we suck at this proverbial NXT dick, you might want to kind of listen to the show first before you come out and start jawing your jaw. Just saying, and when the excuses that we get, Michael, of NXT's in WWE, it's the same thing, they're the same company. Well, that's as much as that's true. You have to have known that NXT, Raw, and SmackDown all have different producers, all have different production team, and all have different writers. So in a sense that, yes, they're in the same company, but clearly NXT's producers and production team are doing something right when all we hear around the community and other shows is negative responses to the main roster product and, more positive, if I can put it that way, on the NXT product because it is doing stuff right. And clearly they're not all the same because if you look at Raw, you look at SmackDown, and you look at NXT, Raw is completely horse shit. SmackDown has been doing great, but again, it still fails on some levels. And NXT is it's mostly positive. Yeah, it fails on some levels. Again, it's not perfect, but it does do stuff right and gets you more invested. Yeah, it's for a certain type of audience, but it just seems to be working for them. I'm just saying that we here do not suck the proverbial NXT dick. And before you come at us with these, shots, you might want to take a listen to our show before you come out and, attack us. So, guys, welcome to the Lowdown Show, the next. We are going to talk about this week, NXT this week. We're also going to go over the 2 NXT matches at WWE Evolution. Before we do, we got to do this as always. We got to hit that intro. You're listening to the Lowdown Show, The Next. Mamma Mia! Your NXT review and discussion show.
We are NXT!
Right here on the No Holds Barred Network. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lowdown Show, The Next, right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all Raw, SmackDown, and NXT reviews, and also more, including NXT UK coverage and also NXT independent coverage over on the Lowdown Show NXT. You can listen to us every single, well, it's not Wednesday, it's Saturday tonight on Spreaker, Spreaker.com/NHBWP. You can make a free profile on there and listen to us live on the air and chat with us live on the air. Listen to all previous episodes of the podcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, at Lowdown Show NXT is where you can find us. You can find myself at Real Kyle Masters, and you can follow my co-host at Michael Chow TV on Twitter as well. Like I said, I am your host, the self-proclaimed greatest host of the Lowdown Show, The Next, and your No Holds Barred Network CEO, Kyle Masters, and I'm always joined right here on the Lowdown Show, The Next, by my co-host. He is the host that runs the West Coast, Hollywood, Michael Chow.
Hey everyone. Hey, unfortunately, I have some bad news. While I was setting up, I accidentally injured my pinky. But I have some good news though. Shane McMahon has agreed to take my place here on the show.
Oh.
And not only is he going to take my place, he is the best podcaster in the world.
Wow.
Kyle, you're going to be in good hands.
Okay, well, thank God for that.
Best in the world.
Hang on a second. We got to do this. We got to do this right here. I've been away for 2 weeks. I got to hit the theme song. I'm back. That's right. I'm back. I had to play a little Eric Bischoff for us. I'm back, guys, after my 2-week hiatus. What is going on, y'all? I'm back, and a little bit of a leave of absence. I had some personal stuff to deal with, but yes, my friend Michael here, before he injured his pinky just recently, was able to take over the show the last couple of weeks and do a really good job of it. So, Michael, I do want to thank you before we start the show off for taking over.
Well, that's what we do. Us here at NXT, we take over, just like we took over Evolution, for the main roster, and, turns out quite well. So,
I know how tough it is doing it alone. So I'm glad that you were able to do it for the last 2 episodes, and you did a good job. They were really good episodes,
Thank you.
like all our episodes here. But over in the chat, we got to show some love as always. We got Tiffany from That Ass Podcast. What is going on, Tiff? And we also got just joining us, Cupid Girl 125. What's going on? She's saying Evolution better than Crown Jewel or Crown or Crown Fool, whatever you guys want to call it. That I don't even know what kind of event that was. If we can just quickly touch base on it. Oh man,
wait! Don't you want to save the best for last? So we should do Crown Royale last, right?
Crown Royale, Crown, whatever the hell it was called. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it even constitutes to have a name, but I'm not going to tell you where it is since WWE, I don't know where it was, because not once throughout the entire show did WWE once mention where the hell the event was taking place from. Did you notice that? Why didn't they do that?
You mean that was in New York? Huh.
I mean, I was so shocked. Like, even at one point, I texted the host over there on the Lowdown Show, Brett. I'm like, Michael Cole just mentioned that they were live what did he say? Live here in the Crown Jewel, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like live in the Crown? Like he meant to say that Saudi Arabia, but he didn't. Is there a reason like why none of them said Saudi Arabia? Like why was it meant? Even Hulk Hogan's promo, no one said. He didn't even say Saudi Arabia. He's like, it's good to be here in the Crown Jewel, Jack. Like, all right,
my Animaniacs. I'm like, oh god. But okay, I assume that the reason why that, and this is gonna sound insane, but this whole event was insane. The only reason why they didn't want to say it by name, Saudi Arabia, because we'll say it here on the podcast, is because they ironically don't want to be associated with that term, which has been making headlines. This huge controversial, thing that's been going on with the American reporter that was killed there, and yet they still held the event. Listen, we know where they are. It's been all over the news. The U.S. government had asked WWE to either cancel the event or postpone the event, and this was before tickets went on sale. Like I was under the impression that they had already sold the tickets, so I'm like, well, maybe they already sold the tickets, and I feel bad for the fans. But they didn't even sell the tickets yet. I mean, I don't know what type of deal they made with Saudi Arabia with that dirty money, but it's a partnership that they want to continue because their events have been so great. They obviously want to put on a third. I mean, I'm going to
break kayfabe here. They've been fucking absolutely trash. Like, I don't even think the only people that are paying attention over there are the kids. If you watch this event over, you go back and look, half the time, the people are not even paying attention. They're up out of their seats. They're walking around. They're huddled in groups everywhere. And it looks so weird watching an event over there when they got all those little, like, cushion seats at ringside, and there's so much room that they could be putting more chairs there to sell out, but there's not. It just looks so weird. And to me, it's not. It had the last 2 times I've been over there. Just my personal opinion, it has not been successful. But clearly, money talks when they've been going back there twice, and they were able to get Hulk Hogan. I'm guaranteeing the $20 million that they're supposed to pay The Rock went into Hulk Hogan's pocket to cut a 2-minute promo in the beginning of the event, and we never saw him again. Did he not say he was the host?
The self-proclaimed host of this controversial event, coming from a controversial wrestler. I mean,
Why does this event need to be 5 days after Evolution? There was nothing on this card. I mean, yeah, we got a new Universal Champion that, you're back to square one, main roster. Way to go there. Good decision. You crown the best in the world to the most unlikely of persons and one that doesn't actually make goddamn sense. And nothing really else happened. There was not really any other title changes. It was just like, did this event really need to happen 5 days later and take everything away from Evolution? No. It was just so bad. Like, they did stuff that was awful. Yeah, I like the nostalgia main event. It was great to see them in the ring. Shawn Michaels still got it for whatever reason, man. Like, he was probably the best one in the ring out of all four of those guys. Because clearly, out of all four of them, the only one to get injured was the one that was in the greatest shape. That was Triple H. He's the only one that got injured in that whole match.
If I could just say, this is a match, and I did not want this match to take place because everyone involved in this match, I'm not trying to be rude because these are wrestlers who I grew up watching. They shouldn't have been in the match. And you saw what happened. Triple H got injured. And there were a couple of sloppy spots. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've seen the gif of Undertaker trying to throw Triple H at the ring barrier, and they just look like, what the hell is going on here?
It was just to fill the ego of the Prince down there, whatever his name is. Just the worst thing that's come out of this, Michael. And it'll be like the last thing we talk about this, and we're going to move on.
I think two things. I think there's two things we need to talk about.
I think I don't know if you've seen the news about what happened after this event, but when I read this and when I got sent this to me, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? If this ever happens, I'm done. I'm done watching WWE. Like, it'll be the end of it. But Saudi Arabia wants to buy the WWE. The prince there, or the Arabian prince, apparently has offered the first refusal, as he's willing to pay approximately $7 billion for the WWE. This means if Vince McMahon plans to sell the WWE before 2028, the Mohammed bin Salman will be the front runner to be the next owner of the WWE, ahead of companies like Disney.
I will tell you what, compromise. He can have Raw, SmackDown, the XFL, but the United States gets to keep NXT. Perfect.
Right.
Do it.
Right.
Do it.
I'm just saying, my one buddy texted me right away. He's like, then Jenner will be 17-time champion by no time. I'm like, oh, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. Anyways,
Ali breaks the record.
Just
multiple
like
time champion.
If that happens, I'm done. Like, I'm seriously, like, that'll just prove how money-hungry, senile Vince McMahon. We already know he is. The guy is literally obsessed with money, and I was talking to Brandon about this. He doesn't care about making more money. He's satisfying his need to make money. Like, he's so senile that he gets off on making money. He doesn't care. Like, he cares how much it is. But it's not like he's doing anything with it. He's in love with making money. So when he sees an opportunity that he's going to make a lot of money, he goes to that. That's how crazy and insane he is. He'll sacrifice the product to fill his need to make money, which he doesn't. Like, how much money do you need? It's sad. It's really sad.
If they ever decide to do this, honestly, once we hear on the news that they did do this, it will be the day that women's wrestling died. Because as you know, the women's performers are not allowed there. Renee Young was on commentary, but she was covered all the way up, like up to her
I was
neck.
actually shocked they let her out there.
And even if they do, and if they buy the WWE and actually allow the women to perform, they're going to be all covered up. I mean, all the way up to the neck, and they're going to put a mask over everyone. La Luchadore will be a 100-time women's champion. There you go.
It's just, I pray to God that this does not happen, or else I'm done. I'm completely done. Like, there are people out there that are hoping for this to happen because then they have a chance to take over the number one spot, and that's clearly the indie companies. They're seeing this going, oh my God, if WWE gets bought by Saudi Arabia, they're going to go in the shithole. The stocks will go down, and WWE won't be the number one company anymore.
Gotcha.
And bye-bye. And just like that, you know what? We're getting too far ahead. I'm going to hit the bell. There's the ring bell. And we're going to talk about, well, first, before we talk about NXT, two things happened this week that were NXT related that happened on the WWE Evolution card. So I won't hit the NXT chant just yet. You know, I would give these girls an NXT chant, but we had two NXT ish. I mean, obviously the NXT Championship was defended at Evolution with Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, but then we had NXT signee Io Shirai facing NXT UK signee Toni Storm in the Mae Young Classic final. So, Michael, we'll talk about Toni Storm and Io Shirai first. I think that'll be the first one we go off on. And I think both these matches, I wouldn't say it necessarily stole the show. They're probably one of the best matches on the show. I think, to be honest, and I'll give it to them, I'll give credit to them, I think Becky and Charlotte was the best match of the night. Those two girls literally set another level and standard in the women's division with their match. That was really good.
I can honestly say that was probably the best match of the night. My only con was that referee count. That referee was one of the NBA, NFL. That was the worst ref I've ever seen. Nicholas must have been so ashamed of his father. That count made no sense from start to beginning. Yeah. The count was all over the place.
Wrestling-wise, like in-ring technique-wise, I think Toni Storm's and Io Shirai's match stole the show for sure. But that match was definitely number one. I'd probably put Toni Storm and Io Shirai at number 2, and then Zayn and Baszler at number 3. So we'll talk about the number 2 one, Toni Storm and Io Shirai. Mae Young Classic final. I actually read before this, Michael, that Rhea Ripley was set to be in the final before she got injured. Or not Rhea Ripley. What's her name? Tegan Nox. That's it. Yep. Sorry. Tegan Nox was supposed to be in the finals. That was interesting when I read that. I'm like, oh, interesting. So I wonder who she was. I didn't read if she was supposed to face a certain person. I know she's supposed to be in the finals. I'm interested to see who she was going to be paired up against, and if she would have been the one to win and go over.
Well, based on the bracket, because on her side of the bracket, it would have been her going up against Io Shirai in the semifinals. Because remember, after she got injured, and especially we assumed that Rhea Ripley was not supposed to win, and then she went up against Io Shirai in the next round. So assuming that Tegan Nox was supposed to go all the way to the finals, she would have had to have gone through Io Shirai, which would have meant on the other side of the bracket, Toni Storm would have been going all the way, as far as into the finals. So it would have been Toni Storm versus Tegan Nox, which I think is a good idea. I always kind of knew that Io Shirai was not going to win because I just don't believe they would have allowed 2 Japanese wrestlers to win 2 years in a row. So
I mean, they had 2 win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but then look what happened to those 2 fools.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess NXT is a little bit smarter, but anyways, Unreal promo package before the match even started. That really got you psyched. It got you hyped for the match. The promo team was on point for Evolution, man. They did a really good job with that. Toni Storm is literally, truly the next big star in the WWE. Right now, she's over with NXT UK. She's on their roster, but I would not be surprised to see her on Raw or SmackDown in the future. Maybe get a little bit of a run in regular NXT, but I think they're trying to make NXT UK just as big as regular NXT, so I don't think there'll be a transition there. Unless they're really desperate for women and they can see her doing something over there, maybe I'd see a transition over. But she's got big star written all over. Toni Storm is literally the next big star, man. She's got it all. She's got the look, the charisma, the in-ring talent. She's got it all.
Very young, too. I think she's only like 22, 23.
Yeah. Yep, she's another young star. If you can put it up against like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, like those two as well, have a huge future in this company, man. So they're this good now, man. Just the sky's the limit for them. Not taking away anything from Io Shirai. Or Shirai, I keep botching her name. I'm sorry.
Everyone botches her name. They've been calling her Low Shirai because I think people think that
I think that's
capital
me.
I is an L.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I got a mistake there too. Yeah. I got it because there's some fonts out there that don't have the little notches at the top and the bottom, and it's just a line. So you're like, oh, Low Shirai, right? That's like your first instinct is Low Shirai, right? And it just I'll botch it, whatever. She's got the potential to be something next too. Like she could even be as big as Asuka was in NXT. I wish I could say the same thing about the main roster, but I sadly can't. I think maybe that's another. I think that's a spotlight we need to do soon is Asuka for sure. Definitely got some stuff to talk about that. So I don't think we have any today. I didn't really prep for that. I don't know if you did.
No.
Yeah.
While you were gone, I technically said, even though it was very popular and a lot of people were chiming and saying they wanted Roman Reigns next, based off what's been going on with Roman Reigns, and NXT Call It Spotlight has put on a little bit of a hiatus, guys, as so we can tune it up because this segment goes really, really long. So I've been trying to find ways to tweak it for it to be shorter or trying to think of different ideas. But
maybe
for right now, it's on the shelf for now until further notice.
You know what? How about this? I'll make an announcement. The next time we bring it back, we'll do a Twitter vote. We'll do a Twitter poll to see which one we do next, and we'll get you guys invested in it and get you guys interacted with that. How about that? But yeah, like I said, Io Shirai, Low Shirai, whatever you guys want to call her, got the potential to be like the next Oscar level NXT. She got the look too. I love her whole mask deal, and she pays homage to that. And in her background, who she takes after is really cool. I see a lot of potential in her. I'm not sure what the WWE thinks. I mean, it's another Asian superstar that's got to learn a lot of English too. She's not really heavy in English. I know the NXT doesn't mind that, but the main roster, it's a big no-no with them. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, again, Toni Storm, unreal. Next big star. This match, incredible. So good. You have the background of Io Shirai with her flying technique. I forgot what her nickname is. She's like the goddess of the sky, or
yeah, I think that's it. Something
like that. Like, she's just insane at her high flying techniques. Toni Storm is just kind of like a good all around wrestler. Like, she's also good at her high flying stuff, but she's mostly better on the ground. But she's just like an all around women's wrestler who can do good at everything. Really, really good match. Decent spots. I kind of felt like it could have gone longer. It just, to me, after watching it twice, I'm going, okay, these girls definitely could have gone longer and put on a really epic match. It kind of felt like they kind of cut it short, and it tells me that there's a reason for this. I think they wanted to not take a lot away from the event. That's just me thinking that maybe they cut it short because, they don't want to take away from it being a main roster type pay-per-view. So, they want to show off a good match here, but they don't want to, overdo it and steal the show. But I feel like these two could actually do that.
And I also felt because, afterwards they got to do that old classic celebration with Triple H, Stephanie, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the main female head trainer, Sarah Amato, out there, and they got to do the whole celebration thing. So I think because of that, they had to cut the match short to, put in that after match segment too. So
yeah, I hear you. But really decent match. I love the ending. We had Low Shirai going for that. What is it? Something moonsault. They call it. I always forget the names, and
Isaiah moonsault.
Yeah. So she going up for it. Toni Storm gets the knees up, hits the Storm Zero, that Tiger Driver, and wins. I'm like, oh wow. Okay, so they went with Toni Storm. To me, Michael, before the match even started, I'm like, they could go with any of these two girls right now. I was leaning obviously more towards Toni Storm because she was my favorite. I mean, well, obviously mine was Shea Brookside, but as soon as I saw that she went up against Io Shirai in the first match, I'm like, well, there goes her tournament. They did her whole thing with her dad too. I'm like, come on. I mean, maybe there's a future with her, and I think she's getting signed to NXT UK, so good for her. Anyways, Toni Storm, good for her, winning the match, Mae Young Classic champion. So your two champions out of the 2 years they've done this tournament. We have Kairi Sane, who went on to be NXT champion, and now we have Toni Storm winning. So hopefully this means good things for Toni Storm in NXT UK. We'll have to keep up with Craig Messy to see how she's doing. Hopefully she gets a chance at that NXT UK Women's Championship. It looks very beautiful, by the way. I've seen pictures of it. Amazing. So this was a pretty decent match. Definitely the second best match of the night for sure on Evolution.
Very good. One of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Quickly the chat, we got Datila joining. What's going on, Datila? Just in time to have us talk about the NXT Women's Championship match.
Yeah.
In Evolution. Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. The story continues.
This is actually my favorite match of the night, actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, second behind Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. But
okay. I think I
very good.
I see why it would be. Yeah.
The ending was kind of, but they pulled it off quite well. So
I think it was more the storytelling was. Yeah. It told more of a story in this match, and for what their history has been leading up to this point. Again, another unreal promo package. They're on point. I love the feud, the story behind it. Shayna is the obvious reason why it's so good, man. She's a beast. She's literally the ultimate Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar type girl in this division, man. That she's got a massive future ahead of her too. If they continue her dominance like this, I know her age is not really that great right now, but she's doing they're doing everything good with her right now. The way they're pushing her is amazing. Really, really good piece of talent right there. I kind of feel like Kari's not quite there yet, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about her that's missing.
Because her character is a little bit too blue for me. You know what I mean? This whole pirate gimmick, I kind of was on board. And if you remember, there's like this one time where she came out in Kairi Sane came out in a leather jacket, and she was all serious, and she was actually like kind of like gave this like serious stare.
I kind of look back at that serious, now. Yeah, I look back at like that was maybe intimidation factor. Like, I'm gonna dress like you, kind of like a. I don't know. I think it was something just for 1 week, but I know what you mean. But I can't. I actually just read something that the Charlie and Beckett match at Evolution is the highest main roster match of 2018 that does not include NXT.
That's good.
Good. It was good. But you were about to say something about was it Baszler or Kari there?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I just feel like, the one thing that's missing is just her character, the whole pirate thing. It's a little bit too much. And I don't know. I feel like this is like a whole Bailey situation. It's a little too kiddish. If she were to get a little bit more serious, I think we can do that. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. So the match itself, really good. I thought this was really well done since you should look back at all their matches. They're kind of playing the same formula with the whole joint manipulation and, the whole comeback of Kairi Sane. But I think for some reason this match felt different. Obviously, we had the 2 of the 4 horsewomen at ringside. There's always speculation. There's always like thoughts of, are they going to get involved? And obviously they did in this match. One thing I want to point out, though, before the match even started, while Kairi was making her little happy, go feel good entrance, did you look at Shayna Baszler's face when they pan the camera? The eye down from Shayna to Kairi was scary, man. She looked more intense than I've ever seen Shayna Baszler. Like, she just eyed her down, and I could see that she wanted to rip her apart. You could feel the anger in that stare down. Like, it was intense as shit. Very, very intense. But again, they kind of almost stuck to the same formula in this match. Baszler dominating the beginning of it. Although Kairi still held her own. There was the one spot where she locked in a key lock, Shayna on Kairi, that almost a Kimura, but a key lock. And Kairi was able to flip it into a pin, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, that's actually a really clever reversal, and something that we. And it was very quick. I think it was the speed of it. Kari's fast, of course, but to be locked in a position like that and to flip it that quick takes a lot of talent. So I'll give props to Kairi there for doing something like that. Unreal back and forth match after this. Crowd was actually very into this match. I think we had a lot of our NXT fans were over there. A lot of NXT chants. Kairi suplexed Shane. This is where everything started to come full circle here. Kairi basically suplexed Shayna over the barricade into the 2 horsewomen there. I forget their name too.
Jessamine Duke and Mrs. Roderick Strong Wrestling, Marina Shafir.
So Kairi does that, and as she's trying to walk away, I think it was Jessamine Duke reached at her, and then Kairi gave her a backhand. This eventually led to get into the ring. Kari's in the top turnbuckle, and the other one comes in, and she backhands her. I think it was a pin attempt, and then while it was being broken, the referee turned her back to the competitors to look at, and this is something that was a little bit weird. I'm like, hey, I know that the referee's got to turn to the timekeeper's area to tell him the count, right? But the referee, I know why they did it because of what the ending was, but she stood up and went all the way to the ropes to tell the timekeeper too.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm like, they could have maybe have done a better job at that. It kind of was a little bit too obvious.
There was way too much interaction between Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke and Kairi to the point where it's like the ref's back has to be turned every single time. You know what I mean? Like they could have honestly had just ended the match when Marina Shafir was on the ring apron, and then Kairi just kick her off or backhand her, and then Shayna pulled her straight into the Kirifuda clutch. But then they went for the extra thing with the pin attempt, and then Shayna kicking her off, and then Jessamine Duke getting that one jump kick in, and then the whole thing was over. So yeah.
So it was Duke. I was trying to wonder which one it was that kicked Kari in the face that led to the Karafuda clutch. So it was Duke. And then, man, I was praying that at least Kari would at least break this one up and we got at least one more. But man, I think they did a pretty good job with of how she didn't tap. Obviously, that makes the wrestler not look weak. They just made her basically hold on until she couldn't anymore. And then Shayna Baszler is our NXT champion or women's champion once again. Very interesting. I didn't think we were going in that direction.
Well, I mean, as soon as the 4 horsewomen got involved, I'm like, yeah, that's it. It's over. I was like, oh, well, there you go.
But going into this match, you're like, okay, maybe you wonder, like, are they going to make Shayna be the champion going to Survivor Series? Are they going to do something with the horsewomen? I think we're far away from that. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think if it does happen, I mean, you can't do it now because Charlotte and Becky are about to rip each other's faces off. You can't really have the 4 horsewomen just suddenly have a face turn.
You know, a lot of people say that, but, here's the thing. A lot of times during Survivor Series, when you have Team Raw and Team SmackDown, you always usually have baby faces teaming up with heels for the greater good. You know what I mean? So let's just say, for example, if Ronda – it's going to be tough getting Ronda Rousey in that role because she's so babyface right now. Like, how do you make Ronda Rousey join these 3, heels? You know what I mean? So
okay, I think I know what you mean. I think actually that makes sense because it would make sense now that Becky is the champion, because if Charlotte was the champion, it wouldn't work, because Becky would just, not care. But the fact that Becky's a champion, she could kind of agree to that and be like, yeah, I'm the champion. I can back our team up, be that cocky one out of the group. And then Charlotte, for the greater good, like you said, can be like, you know what, just for beating the other horsewoman, we can do it. But to me, I feel like this could be a WrestleMania match. I don't think they're going to do it at Survivor Series. And we can't. We know it's not going to happen now because we have Ronda against Becky already announced. And they are moving forward with Raw vs. SmackDown. They confirmed Shinsuke from SmackDown is taking on Seth Rollins from Monday Night Raw. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, and then if I heard correctly, like literally at Crown Jewel, they actually promoted that Brock Lesnar was taking on AJ Styles for a second time. But guys, never say never. I mean, last year during Survivor Series, almost every single champ versus champ match literally changed last minute, except for one. I think Baron Corbin versus Miz is the only chance versus chance match that didn't.
To be honest, Brock Lesnar and Styles last year wasn't even bad. That was actually a really good match, and if they're going to go at it again, I'm all for that. We're actually going to get a decent match out of Brock Lesnar instead of the stupid formulaic bullshit that we just saw at Crown Jewel. That's literally every other Brock Lesnar match, except when he's in the ring with Styles. They actually have a decent match.
You mean you don't want to see AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar for 2 minutes? That's Survivor Series?
Right?
Come on. But no, I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, I would have preferred if the other person at Crown Royale had won their respective matches. I would have preferred Braun Strowman from Monday Night Raw, the Universal Champion, taking on Samoa Joe, the WWE Champion from SmackDown.
Do you not like the Crown Jewel name?
What was that?
Do you not like the Crown Jewel name? Do you like Crown Royale better? Because I'll call it Crown Royale. Because I think that makes me think of because that makes me think of the rum or the whiskey Crown Royal.
Oh yeah, I did not even know I'm botching, but screw this pay-per-view. I don't have to be correct.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to be. I don't care because it doesn't matter. It wasn't even a pay-per-view. I put it as a network special. I put it in that category. It wasn't even a pay-per-view. It was bullshit. Anyways.
I'll tell you what. I'll compromise. I'll fully say instead of Crown Jewel and instead of Crown Royale, I will now refer to that pay-per-view moving forward in this episode, calling it the worst pay-per-view ever. So anyway, here, the worst pay-per-view ever,
Brock Lesnar won in the same fashion that he always has. And completely buried Braun Strowman, who can never recover after this night.
Oh, man. Dude, they made that guy look like a chump.
He's done. He's done.
I don't care how many F5s this guy kicked out of, dude.
After seeing that, there's no way the rumors are true of him being the next guy. He's not. They just buried the shit out of him. I don't know why this was even a thing. How does a championship belt to the back of Braun Strowman, of all people, daze and confuse his ass? There's no way. The guy can take anything, but you telling me a simple title shot to the back of the head, he can't do anything anymore? Give me a break.
And can I just say, whatever happened to, I mean, I don't remember last time Paul Heyman was the reason why the other person lost. You know what I mean? It's just, why couldn't Paul Heyman have just caused some type of interference and then have Braun Strowman lose. Like Paul Heyman distracts Braun Strowman in the worst pay-per-view of all time, the event, and then have Brock Lesnar F5 him. It's like,
oh, but he did it 5 times. Braun Strowman's not weak. He took 5 F5s. But 1 spear, though.
I mean, this is nothing. Roman Reigns kicked out a freaking 5 F5s at WrestleMania, so is this supposed to mean anything to me at the worst pay-per-view of all time? Nope.
Anyway, anyways, those were the 2 matches at Evolution that were NXT related, so we'll move on from that, and we'll talk about the A brand in our eyes, at least, and that is NXT. Yes, the NXT chants are raining down upon us, Michael. Here to talk about the show this week, and Mamma Mia, was it a good show? And sucks that Ronaldo's gone until Takeover. I'm hearing he's gone until Takeover War Games. I think this is his MMA obligations. I think he's got a. I knew that in his contract that he was allowed to go to do his events while still being under contract with NXT. So I think that's the reason why he's gone. I didn't really look into it. I probably should have, but yeah. NXT this week, great episode. Definitely a step up from the last couple of weeks. Last couple of weeks have been dry. See, look, NXT's not perfect. Just saying. Anyways,
exactly. And I gotta say, I thought this week's episode was actually just okay. So as you can see,
just okay. I think we got we got a boost this week from at least the dryness we've gotten. I mean, I missed last week, obviously, but I went back and looked at the highlights. I thought last week was pretty. I think the only thing I liked about last week was the whole William Regal in the ring thing. That was the only thing I thought that was pretty good last week. Other than that, it was decent. But this week we got. I think we got a lot of progress this week, and I got excited after everything that happened. Actually, I couldn't look away from the TV this week. Could not look away. So I thought it was pretty decent. But NXT this week was highlighted by the Mighty and the Street Profits getting another chance at them. We also had the main event of Undisputed Era of Adam Cole and Bobby Fish versus the War Raiders. But we opened up, interesting enough, I love the promo that we opened up with the whole who Aleister Black's attacker was, and obviously we saw what happened last week with the whole Johnny Gargano super kick and him saying, "I'm here." So Vic Joseph opened the show up. I guess he's the replacement for Ronaldo until his return. But we had Nikki Cross come out this week and facing Mercedes Martinez, who had a pop for whatever reason. I'm going, is this her hometown? Like, is she from Florida? Because she got a really good reaction. Like, at least 40% of the crowd was chanting her name. And I'm going, like, this is strange.
Well, this NXT, they do appreciate really good wrestling, and she is a veteran. She's been wrestling for a long, long time. I think over 10 years, and she always does good in the Mae Young Classic. So
it was
I
just
think,
like,
the fans, they can appreciate a good wrestler when they come out.
I'm going, like, I've never seen someone, like, even from the Mae Young Classic that comes and has a random match in NXT, get a reaction like that. And I'm not saying I hated it. It threw me off. Because we had Nikki Cross come out. I thought she was going to cut, like, a segment or something. Nope. She has a match with Mercedes Martinez, and I think, I'm looking her up now. She's not from the Florida. She's from Waterbury, Connecticut. She's actually 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So she's been around. Yeah, she debuted in the year 2000 in her wrestling career. So she's been here for 18. She's been wrestling for 18 years. So maybe it was an appreciation thing, and I can get behind that. But she faces Nikki Cross in the opening contest, and man, was this a good match! Oh my God, I'm expecting 2-minute match tops. I think we got a good 8 to 10-minute match here to start the show off. This was really, really well done. The crowd was excited to see the Mae Young Classic vet. Again, it was I think it was maybe more 50-50 reaction to it.
I seriously did not know who was going to win, but then, like, based off the current storylines, I just assumed Nikki was going to win. But I had my doubts. I was like, is Mercedes going to pull this off, or
exactly. There was a lot of spots here where I thought for sure Nikki Cross was getting the L, and I'm like, oh man, this is interesting. Are we getting a Mercedes Martinez push? But obviously, like you said, again, I had the storyline in the back of my head. I'm like, hey, there's no way they can make Mercedes Martinez win here unless there's a distraction of some kind. Maybe Aleister Black distracts Nikki Cross, and then she kind of gets the loss here. But no, they made Nikki Cross win, still look dominant. I think it's still smart to keep Nikki Cross on top as one of the leading females of NXT. She held her own. She even got a little bit of bloody nose in this one. So really good back and forth matches here, or back and forth match here with Mercedes Martinez. I'm glad she held her own as well, so I'll give props to Mercedes after this one. But after the match, it was really interesting. We had Nikki Cross going up the stage, and Aleister Black just walking out, reverse. In the ring, and Candice LeRae coming out first. I forgot about that. So Candice LeRae's coming out, just getting pissed off. Or she is pissed off about what Nikki Cross did, and basically, like, are you trying to ruin us? Like, I don't think Candice LeRae knows. I think they're gonna make it seem like Candice LeRae doesn't know has no idea what happened. Like, even if it was Johnny, I don't think she knows. I think she's like, I don't think she's trying to defend him. I don't think she knows and she's defending him. I don't think she knows, Michael.
I think she does know. And the fact that she came out in all black, she was dressed in all black, she even had black lipstick, I was like, I think you brought it up too. You had mentioned a couple of episodes ago about her new entrance theme, and you were saying, oh, is Candice LeRae going to turn heel? And I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay,
yeah, maybe I'm thinking about it, yeah. But it's just the way she was talking. She's like, "Oh, are you trying to break us up? Like, what's going on here?" And like, Nikki's just laughing and rolls out of the ring, and then she gets up to the ramp, and then Aleister Black comes out, and then he's just staring down Nikki. Nikki goes off into the left side of the stage entrance ramp, and then Aleister Black stares down Candice LeRae, hops into the ring, and asks, "Where is he?" Candice is like, "I don't know. He's supposed to be at home. He's not here." And then what Aleister says, you couldn't make it out. We had Nigel reiterate it, so thank you, Nigel. That his career in NXT will fade to black. Mm-hmm. So, some strong words by Aleister Black here, and some interesting progress in here. And I guess we can all but confirm it was Johnny Gargano. Like, has William Regal come out yet and said, yes, we figured it out, it was Johnny Gargano? Or are they just going by what he said?
I don't think William Regal ever knew, even though he had that whole investigation. He had his assistant helping him. I think at one point, Kathy Kelly even asked if he knew, and he said he didn't, but he said that he couldn't confirm if what Nikki Cross said was correct. I think he said, I can't confirm that Nikki even knows who it actually is. And we can only assume that Nikki Cross said Johnny's name, because we never found out what Nikki said to Aleister Black, or who
are we gonna get footage?
Yeah.
Are we gonna, if there's all those security cameras, which is really weird, are we gonna get another security camera that they're randomly gonna find and show Johnny Gargano doing it? Yes, it's not helping his case that he attacked Aleister Black saying I'm here, but we don't have if you included William Regal in this whole time, why do we not have him come out and say, yes, okay, after further evidence and the new evidence we just uncovered, Johnny Gargano was the attacker. Mm-hmm. His punishment, he'll be fed to Aleister Black at TakeOver War Games. Why wasn't that done? Again, that's something wrong that the NXT does. Again, not perfect, just saying. That's something they could have done there that they mistaken. They kind of just said, fuck you, William Regal, we're going to keep you out now. Now you got nothing to do with it.
Well, I think it's pretty much confirmed, because I saw a tweet from Johnny saying that he is going to appear next week on NXT, and he actually is going to explain why he did what he did. And one thing I really liked in the tweet is he said that he's basically telling all the fans, you guys all know me, and I actually have a pretty good explanation on why I did what I did before you accuse me. So I'm very interested to see what Johnny says, because it seems like he's trying to tell the fans that he had a justification on why he did what he did. Right. And and can we also point out all these great tweets from Tommaso Ciampa, basically giving all these props to Johnny and saying and kind of teasing the fact that DIY might be coming back, which
that would be sick. That would be sick, though. A heel DIY team is something we haven't seen yet, and that would be dope. But the fact that the NXT title is still with Tommaso Ciampa, it can't happen. If Velveteen Dream somehow finds a way to win at Takeover War Games, then maybe we can get a heel DIY for their last run in NXT. But these two have already established themselves in the main event, so I don't think they be going back to the tag team scene. Unless some way a babyface team won the titles from Undisputed Era and something happened there, I don't think we're going to see. I mean, as much as I'd love to see a heel DIY team, I just love how I bet you Tommaso's just doing it on purpose just to troll us as well, just to tease us. But yeah, I love those tweets as well by Tommaso. Good on him. But yeah, and there's some further development here. So like you said, Johnny Gargano promises to appear next week and give us the all tale of why he did it. Why Johnny Wrestling? Why?
Why he did it for The Rock? Why?
He did it for the people. Anyways, we moved on. We had the Street Profits getting their revenge on the Mighty. They showed footage of their bout about a month ago with Montez Ford with his knee injury, hurting his knee in the match, and guess what? They kind of played into this, saying that's why they haven't had a rematch since then. That he's been recuperating from his knee injury, and they didn't. And a lot of people were mentioning this, and I know why, because obviously it's because NXT's taped. They didn't mention them have the Evolve Tag Team titles that happened after the taping. So I don't know if we're gonna see them hold those titles in NXT or not. I doubt it. I know WWE kind of basically owns Evolve now. They're almost basically a part of the company, so we'll see. But we had the Street Profits, hyping the crowd up again, facing the Mighty, and Mighty coming out with the chain and the Solo Cup.
The Solo Cup, which I'm so glad they have the chain, because if they're just like pissed off that they stole their NXT Cup, I'm like, come on, Montez, just go on Shop Zone and buy it for $5.
Just go in the crowd. I'm sure someone from the crowd.
I'm
sure someone from the crowd will gladly give you their cup. And I saw a bunch of them. I saw people, a bunch in the crowd that were like, they basically were trying to give it to him. They're like, here, come take it. But this match is actually pretty decent. Right off the bat, we had the same beginning as we did last time with Angelo Dawkins almost popping. Was it Shane Thorne in the face? But he was able to duck and roll underneath the ropes. Again, decent match. A lot of good back and forth. I mean, these guys had actually a pretty good wrestling match this time around. Not taking anything away from the Mighty. I know that their heel gimmick is a hard pill to swallow, but they actually are a good wrestling tag team, and they showed it in this match as well. Same with Montez Ford, obviously the most athletic guy in NXT in my eyes. Eventually, it was interesting. We had a bunch of chaotic series of events that led to Montez Ford rolling, I think it was Nick Miller, into the ring, and the way he hit that frog splash. This is how athletic he is. He is able to jump from ring apron to corner, not exactly the turnbuckle, but the rope, and able to launch himself so high in the air, the crowd even was like, whoa, because he almost hit that top screen that's above there and hit a frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. And yes, a Street Profit win. Rarity here in NXT, but a Street Profit win is what we got this week.
That was, man, the elevation. That was a frog splash that would have made Eddie, Rob Van Dam, all the D'Lo Brown proud. So that was great
high. That was so high. And then Angelo Dawkins recovers the cups and the chain. The Street Profits do as they do best. They go into the crowd and celebrate with everybody. Get Montez Ford like swinging the chain around when I'm like, oh, please don't hit anybody. Don't want a lawsuit. We had William Regal give us a Takeover War Games update backstage with Kathy Kelly. He announces a pair of matches. Tommaso Ciampa will defend his championship against Velveteen Dream. Yes, take my money now. Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream is going to tear the house down. Very interesting, though. I guess they're gonna transition Velveteen Dream into. I know he's a tweener now because he's a heel that gets the babyface reaction. But that's interesting. That again, it's something that NXT tries. And it succeeds. Something the main roster never actually tries. They always stick to that formulaic. It's got to be a babyface. It's got to be a heel when it's a main roster championship match.
Well, that's not true. I mean, at the worst pay-per-view ever, they had heel versus heel in the finals of the world's greatest World Cup.
Yeah, but we
right?
saw what happened, though, right? It didn't actually happen.
Oh, what? You mean a guy who didn't qualify, a guy who's not even a wrestler, took the Miz's place?
Yes, believe it or not.
Whoa.
So Ciampa will defend his title against Velveteen Dream. Thank you. I cannot wait for that match. And Aleister Black just shows up, and Mr. Regal tells him that what Candice told him, Johnny isn't here. Aleister will get his one-on-one shot, though, on November 17th, when the Dutch Destroyer tells Regal the same thing that he told Candice, that guy's career will fade to black. So Aleister Black will take on Johnny Gargano at TakeOver War Games.
It would have been so funny because William Regal said that Johnny's not here because he told him to stay at home. It would have been so funny if Aleister Black just went to his house and broke in, like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bill Pullman. That would have been so funny. But yeah, just break into his house.
I know because NXT doesn't need to do it because they put on good matches anyways. Obviously my first instinct is that this match needs a stipulation, but I don't know. I think maybe they can. It just feels like there's too much anger here between the two that there's no stipulation. Maybe Johnny will announce it next week.
I feel like this match is going to get extended. It's going to go for at least 2 takeovers. I guarantee you. The first match. We'll get into that later in what's next. I have a prediction on what's going on, but I feel like this is going to go for at least 2 takeovers with Aleister Black versus Johnny.
Okay. We got a Matt Riddle hype video announcing announcers are running down the War Game card when we say that we get a commotion in the back. And that's Mr. Lars Sullivan literally between the production trucks and the building just like throwing anything he could find at the ground and just like these crates, anything he could grab and just whipping them everywhere. He's saying that he's angry he didn't get his NXT title shot, but since he won't get to face Ciampa, he'll take out his frustration on Velveteen Dream before he gets to TakeOver, which was later announced that he will go one-on-one with The Dream next week's episode of NXT. So rest in peace, Velveteen Dream. I hope you have a game plan going into that match. I hope he doesn't get added to it. Please do not have a triple threat.
I feel like it's going to get added because, yeah.
I don't want it.
By the way, then that would be weird. It's like a triple threat between 3 heels, even though we say that Velveteen Dream's kind of a tweener, but then 3 heels in a triple threat match for the NXT Championship?
Right.
Why not?
And it's weird because, in a way, Ciampa is... I know he gets more of a heat reaction, but he's also slowly getting the reaction from the goons out there that cheer no matter what. Anyways, Matt Riddle makes his debut. The king of bros. Insane reaction. He got I expected a reaction, but maybe not as big as we got. I guess his popularity does proceed, or it kind of just he is popular. Mm-hmm. He actually looked pretty decent as well. I think he did a good job and held his own in this match. He faced this guy named Luke Menzies. I think is his second NXT match. I think he's up-and-coming developmental talent. Don't know if he'll get a repackage, and we'll see him later on as a different name. But he gets the pleasure of jobbing to Matt Riddle and putting Matt Riddle over, and he wins. Matt Riddle looked good. I'll give him that. Unorthodox style, unorthodox ring attire. The whole kicking off the flip-flops at the beginning there. But he's got the crowd behind him, man, and if he's got the in-ring skill, the sky's the limit for this guy as well. Man, Matt Riddle is definitely going to be a key piece for NXT in the future. Hits the bro mission.
Oh, Lord.
I think they call it. Really quickly. The ref ended the match very quickly. As soon as he locked it in, the referee called for the bell. I'm going, I didn't see a tap out. Like, is this going to be a thing, or maybe the referee just kind of like messed up? The one thing I want to point out that was really funny, his entrance music. I'm not trying to play stereotypes here, but that entrance music was the theme song of a stoner, and we know about Matt Riddle's past. I'm just saying.
Well, he's coming out in flip flops, so I mean,
but he's got like a trainer's jacket. I'm just in a fitted cat face forward, but like. His theme song, man, I'm just like, oh my god, they did this. Did they really go this route? It's hilarious, but like CFO $, man, you guys are hilarious.
Even the bros sound like a stone. He goes, bro. I'm like,
yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, but he just locked in the bro mission, I guess they're calling it, and that's it. It was really quick. I hope. I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know. Again, I will have to see what happens. We got a recap of Evolution with Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. And it was also announced that Lacey Evans will be in action next week, and Sullivan gets his shot at the Velveteen Dream. We had a very quick match before the main event, which the main event really wasn't much of a main event, but Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch faced off against Raul Mendoza and Humberto Carrillo. Okay, Raul Mendoza.
If you got to be credible, you got to beat Raul Mendoza.
And this has probably been, I know he lost, took the L here, but Raul Mendoza, this is the best I've ever seen him.
It's good.
This was a good match. Obviously, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, really, really good wrestlers. Love their strong style type of wrestling. But, dude, Raul Mendoza looked really, really good here, and he actually had the crowd behind him a little bit. He had a lot of offense here, and he looked good, man. I hope they see something in him. I mean, they asked him to go. I don't think they would have asked him to come to the Cruiserweight Classic if they weren't going to use him in the future at some point. I hope this is the start of something with him. I think they could do something big with him, man. He looks good. His wrestling is clean. You can do something with him, man. I'm not saying he can be like the next Eddie Guerrero. I'm not going to put him in that category, but I think if with the right push and maybe his charisma can, increase a little bit, I think Raul Mendoza has somewhat of a future in NXT or even maybe the main roster because I think he looked good. That's the one takeaway from this match. Obviously, I knew Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan weren't taking the L here, but the one thing I want to point out of this match was Raul Mendoza looked really, really good here. Really good.
I think they really should promote this guy up to 205 Live. Like, they can find someone else to be the jobber, the guy who you beat to be credible in NXT. They need to find someone else and then just promote Raul Mendoza to 205 Live, and he could do something up there. Unfortunately,
it'd probably be my boy Conor Reeves, but I think they're testing something out with him in the live events. I saw he's got a managerial role, so we'll see what happens. He's not a manager, but he's got a manager, so maybe that's something. So we were supposed to have the Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders. So Undisputed Era is having their little promo backstage in that little little space that they have all their promos in. And while they're cutting it, all of a sudden Adam Rose just gets yanked from behind. I'm going, what did he? I thought he fell for a second. I'm like, oh my god, did they actually accidentally show us the botch footage? And then all of a sudden, freaking Hanson and Rowe come in and they just start beating the shit out of them. So the big brawl ensues, and we get it leads to the outside somehow, and then Bobby Fish and Adam Cole are outside. They lawn dart Adam Cole into the side of a truck. They throw Fish into these metal tables, and it looks like an outside cafe going on out there. Kyle O'Reilly goes down, but Roderick Strong attacks with a trash can, and the numbers game's kind of paying off. But wait! Here comes Ricochet. Ricochet joining the fray, dives on all the... He just climbed this random thing and did this front dive on everybody. Adam Cole manages to take him out, throwing him into the barricade. Fish tries to escape through the locked door, ignoring the open garage door that was right next to him, I might say. It just looks so weird. I'm like, hey, so he looks at the open garage door, and he sees the door, and it's locked, and he's still, trying to open it. You're small enough, why don't you just crawl under the garage door? It was just so weird. But then Handsome ends up picking him up and chucking him into the closed part of the door. They end up going inside. Everybody's brawling around the ring. Cole regains the advantage with a side chair shot to Rowe's knee, which looked pretty intense. That was a really good chair shot. So as they're getting beaten down, the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne's theme song hits, and the crowd just... at that point, I'm just like, oh my god, this is the best ending to the show. I got so into it when I heard Pete Dunne's theme song. I'm like, this is amazing. So he comes out with a chair, Bruiserweight chants. He starts ripping through everybody with that steel chair. Ricochet clears the ring, and Undisputed Era is all up on the ramp while Ricochet, Pete Dunne, and the War Raiders are left in the ring. Out comes pissed off General Manager William Regal. I don't know when the hell he's never not pissed off, but he comes out freaking hot as hell saying, this is not how it's going to go down. At Takeover, they'll sell this inside War Games, and the War Games match is made. Michael, your prediction almost came true, man.
I know. Well, first and foremost, that was a really killer British accent you just did right there, Kyle. Very nice British accent.
Thank you.
So, but other than that, I actually have one con against this decision. I don't like the fact because I gave a prediction where several of the titles of NXT get defended, and here no titles are on the line. So that means that the Tag Team Championship, the North American Championship and the UK Championship will not be on the line. 3 titles in NXT, unfortunately, because of this match, will not be defended. I don't think I agree with this decision. So, I mean,
in terms of your
match,
booking, but I'm like, okay, fuck you, sign me up for this. Is going to be an insane match. We're not having the 3-team kind of thing. It would be kind of maybe less chaotic than the one we got last year. But I'm pumped for this, man. You got Pete Dunne and Ricochet and the War Raiders facing off all 4 members of Undisputed Era. We saw how good it was last year. I'm only expecting bigger and better things for this year. Man, what War Games is already shaping up to be a one hell of a pay-per-view that weekend. I cannot wait for it. And what a crazy ending to NXT, man. Just left you, again, another episode of NXT where it leaves you wanting more and on the edge of your seat. That's how you end a show. This is how you end a show. You don't end the show with a boring, same formulaic tag team or match you've seen for weeks on end, and you end it off with that. No. You end it off on a cliffhanger, or you end it off excited on the edge of your seat and can't wait for next week's episode. This is how they end the show. This is the one difference that they have from Raw and SmackDown, that NXT knows how to end a show. Plain and simple.
I think they're. I feel like they are going to extend this. We are going to get the War Raiders versus Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. It's probably going to happen next week or the week after that. But yeah, I thought the show was okay. I really didn't like the fact that we were expecting a match and then we ended up not having the match, and then this whole fight broke out. But it was good. It wasn't bad. I just thought it was just okay. And another example when, hey, we don't always talk about how NXT is perfect. Okay, so. I thought this was
just saying. Anyways, we'll get into the next segment here. Who's next? What's next? That's right. Welcome to Who's Next? What's Next? Right here on the Lowdown Show, the next segment where we talk about what's next in a certain feud or for a certain superstar, and who's next, who gets our Who's Next MVP of the week and our Who's Next Jobber of the week. Michael Chow, let's go with the Who's Next. We'll start with the MVP and the Jobber segment this week. Sure. We'll start off first. Who's your Who's Next MVP of the week?
So my MVP of the week, I thought everyone did great on the show, but one that really went out to me was Mr. Montez Ford. He did so great in the match, and that pop-up frog splash was a thing of beauty. This guy ever decides to go solo, he could seriously, like, if you could just imagine, it's probably never going to happen, but maybe AJ Styles just versus Montez Ford. I mean, that is a match for the ages. So
that is an athletic match.
Okay, tell you what. If one day, Ricochet comes out here and say, "Hey, you know what? War Games is over. I'm feeling pretty happy about myself. So tonight I'm gonna have myself a North American Open Challenge." If Montez Ford comes out here and challenges Ricochet for the North American Championship in an Open Challenge, that might be one of the best matches of the year. So I have very, very high hopes for Montez Ford. He's going to get killed on the main roster, booking-wise, but Montez Ford, man, he could. I like the team as a whole, but this guy could seriously go solo, and he's got everything. So Montez Ford, who's my next MVP of the week?
Well, my MVP of the week this week is Raul Mendoza, man. I'm giving props to him, man. He looks so good in that match this week, man. So I'm giving him this week because usually we see Raul Mendoza in the jobbing form. I know he took the L this week too, but we usually see him in a worse kind of predicament than we saw him this week. This week he kind of held his own, although we had to give the win to Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. I would have been okay with a W out of Raul Mendoza if they're really being serious about him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we got with Raul Mendoza in the future, and I'm giving him the MVP props this week. So, Michael, who's your jobber? Who's your jobber this week?
Sometimes it does happen, but I actually had no jobber for this week. I thought everyone did play their role well. I didn't see anyone who really came out to me and said, like, what were they thinking and whatnot. So I actually have no jobber of the week. So How about you?
Yeah, I really didn't have any this week either. I had no problem with pretty much anything this week. Nothing really kind of stood out that I should be giving the jobber status to. Yeah, we had some little bit of mistakes, maybe not including William Regal into the announcement of Johnny Gargano being the person, but you know what? Not this week. Wasn't a place for a jobber, so I'm not giving it to anybody this week as well. So we both just had an MVP. So let's get into the next part, and that is what's next. So what's next for a certain superstar or feud? Michael, what's your what's next of the week?
All right, so I briefly kind of brought it up at the beginning of the show. So my what's next has to deal with Candice LeRae. And I feel like, like Kyle says, he's not actually sure where her allegiance might be, or whether she knew all along or maybe she did not. And I think all of it will be revealed at NXT TakeOver War Games. I can imagine, this is what I predict, Candice LeRae will screw over Aleister Black. And there will, if you can imagine this, Kyle, use your imagination. Candice LeRae comes out here, and it has to make it look like she didn't mean to interfere. Like she didn't mean to get involved. And then once Aleister Black loses, you can imagine Candice LeRae going up to Johnny, giving him that old Christian and Trish Stratus big old kiss, and see Candice LeRae with the biggest, most evil smile of all time. And you're like, oh, there we go. She knew, and she totally did this on purpose. And I can also predict, with Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano being a heel couple going full force, I can imagine Aleister Black, he's going to need some help, and that's where he recruits Nikki Cross. And I'm predicting Aleister Black and Nikki Cross versus Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, either on a TV taping or a takeover. So there you go.
Okay. What's next for me? I'd love to see something. I think it's not going to happen until after War Games, clearly now, but I want to see the North American Championship in some sort of big feud going into the Royal Rumble one. So what's next for Ricochet after the War Games match? I'm going to say it's going to have to do... It's a weird prediction, but hear me out first. I think that the champion versus champion match that we had is going to happen once again. And I think that it's so tough. I'm so on the fence about this what's next segment because I originally had Roderick Strong in the slot for the North American Championship, and Adam Cole is going to get pissed off about it. And then it's gonna win. It's gonna be in a situation where Adam Cole and Ricochet are gonna be in like some sort of multi-man match to crown the number one contender, and Ricochet is gonna win it, and Adam Cole is gonna be jealous about it, and that's gonna be a way to kick Roderick Strong out of the Undisputed Era. It's gonna set up a story to kick Roderick Strong out for Bobby Fish to come back in his place. And it's going to lead to... It's not going to lead... And that was my original one, was going to not lead to Roderick Strong winning the title, but Ricochet winning because the Undisputed Era screwing Roderick Strong over and kicking him out of the Undisputed Era and leading to a Adam Cole versus Ricochet feud after that. So that's what I'm going to stick with. You know what? I'm going to scratch my champion versus champion match again. That's just fantasy booking, obviously. But I'm going to stick with that one. So...
That's a good one. I can imagine, like, once everything you just said happened, and then them kicking Roderick Strong out of the group. I can imagine after Adam Cole beats Ricochet for the North American Championship, and then him and Roderick Strong go at it for the North American Championship after that. So
we're going to take a moment here to give a special shout-out to our network sponsor, and that is ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com. They specialize in the WWE and MMA apparel with over 10,000 products in stock right now. From T-shirts to sweaters to muscle shirts, guys, you're not going to want to miss checking this website out. Or if you want, you can stock up for Halloween next year. Get your Halloween costume now and not have to worry about it next year. Go check out ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com, and it's a special added bonus. You're going to use code No Holds at checkout, and guess what? You'll save an extra 10% on your order. That's right, a perfect Ty Dillinger 10 off your order when using code No Holds. So check us out. or go check them out, the official sponsor of the No Holds Barred Network, ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com.
By the way, speaking of which, Perfect 10, I feel so bad for that guy. He on storyline wise, Randy Orton broke his finger, and then all of a sudden after that, he actually did break his hand at a live event. So I feel so bad for Ty Dillinger. Now he's back on the shelf. I
feel my favorite wrestler's on the shelf until next year. You might miss WrestleMania. So
Yikes. Kevin
Owens has got a serious injury, man. But I think this guy's just had nagging injuries, and I think now it's literally caught up to him. So hopefully he comes back fresh and ready to go. So I'm praying for Kevin Owens. But anyways. Ty Dillinger, yeah, him too. But I'm saying Ty Dillinger is one of my favorites as well. But I'm saying my ultimate favorite number one is Kevin Owens, and he's also on the shelf. So
he might be coming back as a babyface because it looks like they were hinting at a babyface when Bobby Lashley, laid him out, and we'll have to see. I've never actually seen Kevin Owens as a babyface, so let's try it out, see what's going on.
But as for that, I was getting in your tweets. I'm pretty sure I have some tweets. I think I saw Cuba Girl saying that she sent in some tweets, but I'm going to quickly go to the chat where she said her what's next. She says she saw a video on WWE's YouTube channel that Keith Lee and Matt were with each other and Cassius confronted Matt. Probably after War Games we're getting Cassius versus Riddle, or maybe we'll get it in the NXT taped show before War Games, Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno. I think I remember them saying that something like that, like they were going to do something with Cassius Ohno and Matt Riddle. I think they would. Didn't Cassius Ohno say something to what's his name?
Yeah, I think it goes along with Cassius Ohno's new gimmick. He says that he doesn't like these new guys coming in and getting automatic opportunity over him. And I think there's been a couple of segments where he would be talking to William Regal, and he would end what he's saying with bro. So, I'm pretty sure they're hinting at him. So.
All right, so let's get into your tweets out there, your fan tweets. Guys, you want to tweet into the show, use the hashtag AskTheNext, cleverly spelled NXT, with your tweet, and I'll read them and answer them, and we'll answer to the best of our abilities right here on the show. Also, before we get into the tweets, CubaGirl125's actual MVP this week was Candice on her reaction to her new appearance. So good for her being Candice, or CubaGirl's 125 MVP. So first tweet is from Tiffany. On Twitter, she puts, "What are your thoughts about not having Kairi Sane being there to present the pass down of the Mae Young Classic to Toni Storm?" Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't really realize that. Well, Kairi was there, and that match was. I mean, if Kairi Sane had a match here, maybe I understand that, but yeah, I think Kairi's match was a match after or two matches after. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe she could have been out there. I don't know. It's weird. I guess maybe, yeah. I kind of see where Tiff's going with that. Maybe she should have been out there because it kind of seems like they're doing a yearly thing with this. So I don't know.
Now, by the way, we should point out that Tiffany was actually at Evolution live.
Yeah,
she was there. So
she was.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think about that. I think maybe she should have been out there, but she had a match to get ready for. Maybe they could say that she was getting into the zone.
Well, I can understand why this might not be a tradition, because what happens when there's a Mae Young Classic when a heel wins? You don't expect the heel next year to present the trophy, right? Because then it just seems a little bit weird. So,
all right. Yeah. So I kind of see that aspect of it too. So, next tweets come from CubaGirl125. As we were starting the show today, she puts, "Do you think things would be different if Triple H has the voice of the women's division on the main roster instead of Steph?" The voice, probably not. Booking, 100%. Booking and production-wise, I don't know if it's even Steph on the main roster, but the way they have the women's division on the main roster, except aside from Charlotte and Becky, it's really bad. If Triple H was running it, I think it'd be completely different. So,
I mean, if you guys didn't know, or they have... I mean, if you believe what Dave Meltzer says, he did say that NXT's people did, that guy. But anyway, that guy, he did mention to the fact, and he didn't confirm it because he never confirms anything, that NXT's people did produce Evolution. So if you loved Evolution, and most people said it was the best pay-per-view of the year, compare to, and they said that Vince McMahon had very little to do with Evolution.
Yeah, he showed up literally a minute before the thing went on the air. It shows how much he actually cared about it. And Kevin Dunn wasn't even there.
Yeah. Most of the main roster people were not there, who produces the main roster. And it's just like, Vince, look at all the stuff they did for Evolution. There was no build. There was nothing. Vince could care less. He spent more time trying to promote Saudi Arabia's the worst pay-per-view of all time. And then look what happens when Vince McMahon produced the worst pay-per-view of all time, Crown Jewel, compared to Evolution that was produced by NXT's people. So, we'll have to see. Kyle, you and I always say when, next year comes and XFL has been launched and Vince McMahon will barely be around, we'll see what type of product we actually get from the main roster moving forward. So we'll have to wait and see.
Next tweet says, do you think the plan for Kairi Sane versus Shayna will be a 3v3 tag team with Shayna and the two horsewomen versus Kairi, Lo Shirai, and possibly Mako if they did sign her to NXT? I know you're talking about there, Cupid. I don't know if that's even confirmed yet. I don't think we're going to get a 3-on-3. Maybe we will, but I can kind of see Cancel Ray. Yeah, it's actually pretty tough. I can maybe see Lo Shirai getting on the side of Kairi Sane, but I think they would need a third. And I can't really think of a third off the top of my head that would help them.
I think so. I think it would be Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, because they promote all the time that they're best friends. And the third person I believe is, since we got Kairi Sane, last year's Mae Young Classic winner, I think the third person will be this year's Mae Young Classic winner, Tony
Storm. Yeah.
Yep. Because if we can get Pete Dunne from NXT UK to appear on NXT, why can't we get the women? So it'd be great to see Tony Storm appear on NXT.
Yeah.
So.
I say that. If they are going to sign Michael or I forget how to say her name, Cuba Girl, maybe. That actually hasn't been confirmed yet. I haven't seen anything confirmed just yet, but that would be interesting if she was the third person. But Tony Storm, listen to Michael now, it kind of sounds like a good logical pick here. So I'll go with that. Yeah, I can kind of see a 3v3 thing going on. Maybe a Takeover War Games. We'll see if that happens. I don't think the title's going to be defended at War Games. I know that there's the obligated rematch unless the 3v3 happens on an episode of NXT.
They've got to, because like I said, since North American Championship, Tag Team Championship, and UK title will not be defended at War Games, they need that women's title. Yeah. They need it. So
they literally only have one championship match. They only have the NXT title that's on the card that's being defended so far. So yeah, I'd see it. Finally, Candice looked very nervous and scared when Aleister got in her face, but appearance looked different than what she normally is. Do you think Candice is preparing to turn heel with Johnny, or could this be potentially setting up Nikki versus Candice? Yeah, because Nikki's not really a heel in a sense. She's almost like a tweener as well. I'd say you can still do Nikki versus Candice with Candice as a heel, but I'm going to go to what Michael was saying earlier in the show. I think they are setting up Candice to become a heel. Just with her look, her theme song change, her potentially being on the side of Johnny Gargano through this whole thing. I think there's a heel turn on the way. I am going to go with that. As for her versus Nikki, I think that's imminent. They wouldn't have done what they did this week if it wasn't going to happen. So I think we're going to have to wait and see for that. But yeah, I'm digging a Candice heel turn for sure.
Yep, I totally agree. I mean, I think I've answered it in my what's next portion.
Yeah,
so,
basically.
Totally with it.
But that's all the tweets for this week, guys. Thank you for sending them in. Again, if you want to send in tweets to the show, all you have to do is put the hashtag AskTheNext, cleverly spelled NXT, in your tweet, and make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, at Lowdown Show NXT. Follow myself at Real Kyle Masters. Follow my co-host Michael Chow TV. But I got nothing else to talk about. Michael, you have any last and final thoughts before we end the show?
No, that's pretty. Oh, I mean, based on what happened at the worst pay-per-view of all time, I mean, I gotta see the best wrestler in the world come to NXT to challenge the NXT champion.
Oh man!
All right, so we gotta
make sure you bring the World Cup.
Shane McMahon.
Bring the World Cup with you too. That huge fucking trophy. My God, what an embarrassment! Oh man!
Oh my gosh! I saw the picture he took afterwards backstage holding that trophy. I'm like, dude, is Shane on anything? Because, dude, how do you get that
He's
big a
taking.
muscle?
I was talking to
Like,
Brandon about that too, man. He's taking the Vince drugs, man. He's taking whatever
Oh, my
Vince
God.
McMahon steroids he was taking. He's safe. He's a McMahon, and that's also an embarrassing thing. Of course, they had a McMahon win the Best in the World trophy. It's just so ridiculous. Screw anything the main roster starts coming up with, man. They're just gonna shit on us anyways. I think that's going to wrap it up. I got no final thoughts this week, guys. Well, I'll be back next week as well. I'm pretty much back full time now. Next week will be into the regular scheme of things with the leading up to War Games. We're on the road to War Games officially. We're in November now. So, interesting enough, want to point out that myself and No Self Phil, old co-host of the show, we have bought our tickets for NXT Takeover Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
We have bought our tickets. We will be sitting in the 100s for, kid you not, $50 Canadian each. We got tickets for really cheap. Yeah. As soon as they went on sale and I saw that price, I could not pass that up. I bought them right away. We're looking at flights. I think he's coming over later tonight. We're going to look at flights, and I don't know. Maybe we'll do something special when I'm down there. I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a live predictions thing or something. I don't know. I plan on doing some vlog videos for that.
Are you guys going to the Royal Rumble?
Yes. I can't pass that up. I'm not just going to fly down to Arizona and just go to TakeOver. But the Royal Rumble being at Chase Field this year at Baseball Stadium, I can't really not pass that up. And there's chances I'll see some NXT people because there are sometimes in the Royal Rumble. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
But we're going to have our prediction show leading up to Survivor Series. Not too sure yet if we're going to collab with the main roster show. I'm still debating because I don't want to have 2 hours of just full out wars. So who knows? Maybe we'll have just our own live prediction show. But guys, stay tuned for upcoming episodes of the Lowdown Show. The next. That is going to wrap it up, though, for episode number 8 of the Lowdown Show. The next, right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and more coverage of everything wrestling. You can follow the show, the Lowdown Show NXT, on Twitter. You can follow myself at Real Kyle Masters, my co-host at Michael Chow TV. You can listen to us live on Spreaker every single week. Spreaker.com/NHBWP. Give us a follow on there, guys. It's free to make an account, and then the app is free to download on all Android and Apple devices. If that's not for you, you can also follow us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, and YouTube.com/NHBWR. Give us some love and hit that subscribe button and that little bell icon for all upload updates, and go give us a 5-star rating on iTunes as well. I'm your host, as always, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, and I'm always joined by my co-host. He is the host that runs the West Coast, Hollywood Michael Chow.
I think you need to start referring to me as the best podcaster in the world. I already have a match set up with Shane McMahon next week.
Best podcaster in the world. Okay.
Yes.
The best podcaster in the world, Michael Chow, and we're always reminding you to keep it on the Lowdown.